Hello there everybody, welcome back to Try New Things, where today we're going to kick off barn build episode number 8. It's been a few months since we did a barn build episode, and I thought I would bring you up to date on what's been happening. We spent most of our time working on the interior fit up of the barn, as you know from watching the previous videos. I'll take you inside here in a second and I'll give you an update on our progress in there. And then I'll bring you back out here and talk to you about my plans for my next barn-related project here on the barn side of the interior wall. So stay put, don't go anywhere, we'll jump right into it. All right, we're back in the interior fit-up portion of the barn, and no better place to start than here in the kitchen. So since last time, I have built some custom shelving made out of butcher block countertop to match the butcher block countertops that are in the kitchen here. And we've gone ahead and added some personal touches, some decorative touches. Now along with the shelving, you can see, and the decorations, you can see a few of the Christmas gifts I got. So I got a spice rack, a brand new toaster for the farm, and some utensils, some spatulas and spoons, etc. Now the other huge development that has happened since the last video is the flooring. So this is laminate snap together flooring that we picked up. It took forever given the supply chain issues. It took I think 4 months to come in. But when it finally came in, we got it installed, which allowed us to complete the baseboards, which I'm glad are complete as well. So all the trim in the interior space is complete. Let's go into the bathroom and show you a couple updates in there. All right, back to the restroom. Here we've got a different color of vinyl flooring installed and some more artwork, some personal touches that we've put in here, like this farmhouse, sweet farmhouse sign. And we also got a shower curtain that matches the tile for the shower. And we finally got some towels on the towel racks. Next room we're going to go into is the last room. It's kind of our loungy area, so it's come quite a ways. The flooring makes a tremendous difference, that and the baseboards. We've gone ahead and added our personal touches in here with some artwork that Madison has picked out. So that's on the walls. That's a rain lamp that was a gift for Madison for Christmas. Kind of unique. And there is the beginnings of a mid-century fireplace. And in case you missed it, go back and check out Madison's product review of that fire log. Maybe she'll do one on that rain lamp someday. But yeah, so a lot has happened here on the interior fit up. We're very pleased with the progress to date. And it's time to move back out in the barn and make some progress out there. So let's go back out in the barn and I'll talk to you about my next project. Alright, we find ourselves back out in the barn, and this is the outside of the interior build. You're looking at an Osb Clad Wall. That's the inside of the inside wall that goes to the barn. Now, the space out here in the barn's not heated or air conditioned like it is on the inside, so that's an insulated wall, and we had to get something on the outside to meet code requirements and close out our building permit. But I want to make it look a little bit better. There's nothing wrong with OSB inside of a barn, but I managed to pick up some very well-aged roofing material from an old barn that came down. And my plans are to use that as a wainscoting along the bottom of this wall, and then finish out the top with good one-side plywood, probably 1/4 inch. So it would be plywood on the top and old barn roofing on the bottom with some sort of shelf or chair rail in the middle separating the two, just to give it a different look than the OSB here. Now we do have a couple of challenges. So what you see there by the Jeep sign, to the left of it is the plumbing for the mini split that's in the kitchen. Now going upwards goes out to the condensing unit, and the white pipe going down is the drain, and it's gravity fed and it runs all the way along the bottom of the wall. And when I cover this with the barn roofing material and the plywood, I'm going to have to conceal those pipes just to make it look a little bit better. and then I'll probably run it all the way over into the corner and around to the garage door. Here, piled up just outside the back door of the garage, or the pole barn, is the roofing material I was talking about. Kind of glad I weighed it down with a few stones. We don't know if you watched the news, but Kentucky had quite the wind event here a little while ago, and I was pleasantly surprised that that roofing went nowhere. But my plan is to cut that to size and fit it as the wainscoting, overlapping appropriately, of course. So interested to see how that's going to turn out. There's the old RK25 with very muddy wheels, so been putting that to good use here over the Christmas holidays as well, beating back some bushes and brush and weeds, trying to build out the lawn for next year a little bit more. Now beyond the tractor there, you can see some shelving units that I picked up. So here in LaGrange, Kentucky, there was a company going out of business, and I picked up that shelving units for a pretty good deal. So I bought 5 in total and paid just over $100 for the lot. And over in this corner, you can see I have a couple more behind the old Dodge. Not quite got everything put away, but certainly helping to organize the barn a lot better. So not sure if the laser level is going to show up in the video here, but it's close to the bottom of the wall, and the first line I'm going to scribe on there is the top of the, I guess the drain pipe concealment. So I've got to box that in, and then from there up to about the 40% up the wall height is going to be the barn roofing, and then above that the good one side plywood finished. So I'm going to go ahead, mark the line of where I'm going to build the top of the box to conceal that drain line. Now I do plan on coming back and putting a chalk line over that to make it a lot easier to see, but I'm just marking it out for now, see how it's going to lay out. Next line I'm going to do is the bottom of the plywood. Okay, so that line is going to be the top of the chair rail or the bottom of the plywood, depending on how you're looking at it. I guess you can't really see over there in the light, but we'll go ahead and get that scribed out, and then we'll have our reference lines complete and ready to begin making this wall look better. All right, everybody, it's a different day. It's actually a different week, and things have cooled off tremendously since Christmas. Over the holidays, we were blessed with some fantastic weather, but today in the barn, I think it's 26 degrees this morning. And we'll fire up the DeWalt radiant heater here in a bit to get it warmed up, because we want to start work on this wall behind me, like I said in the last clip. All right, everybody, a quick update. I've got the plumbing for the HVAC units all boxed in along the base and also going up the wall. So that's ready for a cover board. But the next thing I'm going to do is start framing in where I'm going to put the old barn roof material as a wainscot across the bottom third of the wall. So that's what I'm going to do next. All right, we're back again. Time for another quick update. I've got the wainscoting all framed out where I want to put the old barn roofing material. You can see the 4-foot squares on the bottom third of the wall. Inside of each of those, I'm going to fill up with the barn metal, and then put a final trim over the top, and then above that will be finished plywood. In my mind, it looks really good, but hopefully my mind is right. We'll find out soon enough. Stay tuned. You're going to want to see how it turns out. All right, everybody, my plan for today was going to be to start cutting the roofing material that I'm going to be using for wainscoting from the old barn. But it's raining pretty hard outside and all my metal's outside. But my plywood's inside, so I'm going to start on the plywood up top. And then if the weather turns, then we'll refocus back on the wainscot barn roofing. So hang in there. We're going to get started here real quick. All right, you're about to see me do something that's going to seem a little strange, but I'm going to be adding some black paint, vertical strips up the wall. And the reason for that is when I put my plywood on, my plan is to leave a 1/8 inch gap in between the different panels. And what I want to be seen through that gap is black versus OSB. But anyway, we'll see how it turns out in the end. But I'm going to go ahead and start spray painting lines on this wall. Well, that was a whole bunch of fun. We got the wood paneling done now, all the way to the end and into the corner there by the garage door. Next thing we got to do is try our hand at cutting some metal roofing and put it at the bottom for wainscoting. Stay tuned. We're going to get at that next. Hopefully you all are asking yourself the same question. Why is he using a wood circular saw to cut metal? And the answer is, I watched a number of YouTube videos on this where folks had cut metal roofing using a circular saw, and they recommend turning your wood blade backwards and it'll cut it like butter. I can tell you it doesn't cut it like butter, but it does work. Still feel a little iffy about it, but I only have a few more cuts to make and then we'll get them on the wall. So hang in there. We'll get these in place, and I'll show you what it looks like before I put the trim on. All right, after much work, we got the metal roofing, the old barn roofing that I picked up for free, on as wainscoting. The next step for me is going to be to work on the trim. So that light pine you see is basically meant to be a frame. And over top of that, I'm going to put some additional trim. Finish it off a little bit more. So that'll be the next step for me, is working on the trim to cover up around and the frame from the wainscoting. And that should wrap up this wall. All right, let's talk a little bit about my color choice here. On the left, you can see that I opted to go with Minwax pre-stain wood conditioner, just trying to avoid some of the blotchiness that you get with stain sometimes. Now on the right, you can see the stain that I selected. It's Silk Gray by Czar, and I got it at the local hardware store here in LaGrange. Not sure if you can get it at the big box stores. I'm sure you probably can, but they didn't have Minwax in gray, which is what I wanted. Now the camera may show up the gray. It's a little bit blue. I knew it did when I took a picture, but I promise you I was going for the old weathered barn board look with the gray, and that's kind of my theme with the wall. Now when I showed the initial photos of the color gray that I picked out to my wife and daughter, they said they didn't like it. Now ask me if I'm surprised if they didn't like it. Absolutely, completely surprised that they don't like my choice. Now the paneling's got kind of a red tinge to it. That wasn't a conscious decision. It's what they had in 1/4 inch good one side plywood at Lowe's. Not sure what it's supposed to represent, but it does have a little bit of red in it. I kind of like the color, and so I think it works for me. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this episode of Try New Things. We've reached the end of another weekend, and as with every weekend, we always run out of time. Didn't quite get finished, but I got an awful lot done. I'm going to show you what I've got done. Now, if you want to see how it turns out in the end, you're going to want to come back and see the next video that's part of the Barn Build series. And to remind you to do that, don't forget to hit subscribe. So let me show you what else we got done here. It's cold in here. So here by the door to the kitchen kind of shows us what it's going to look like for the most part when it's done. There's some other things I've got to do. One thing I need to do is add a little tiny shelf along the top of the chair rail there at the top of the wainscoting. So I'm going to put a shelf all the way along that horizontal. Another thing I need to do is put a top trim board all the way along the top of the wall just to dress that up. And you can see down here that I didn't quite finish the baseboard. It's a very large baseboard, but I'm kind of pleased with how it turned out in hiding that drain line for the mini split system. You can see here where I've got it done. Kind of made a fake column hiding that the pipe and the wiring there, and then the big baseboard is going to hide the drain line all the way there until it goes around the corner. I got some more boards drying at the moment, so they're all stained up and ready to go on as baseboards. But yeah, that's going to wrap up this episode of Try New Things. As always, I want to thank you for taking the time for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And if you got any comments, leave them below. And until next time, bye-bye.